When the world falls silent, the night begins to whisper. These aren't just stories. They're confessions of lost souls, echoes of forbidden love, and screams buried beneath time. Here, fear has a heartbeat, and desire hides in the dark. Every tale you hear will pull you deeper, into a place where horror meets heartbreak, and the line between love and death disappears. So close your eyes, turn off the lights, and let the whispers begin.
The Widow's Lantern. They say if you ever wander through the forests of Northern Europe and you see a blue light flickering through the fog, don't follow it. Locals call it the Widow's Lantern. Some say it's a ghost searching for the man who betrayed her. Others say it's the man himself, still walking the earth, cursed to carry her light forever. But the truth is much worse. Because a few months ago, someone found the manor that started it all. And inside, the lantern was still burning. This is the story of the man who fell in love with a ghost, and the curse that never dies. The Widow's Lantern Story 1, The Arrival. It was the autumn of 1796 when I arrived in the valley of Eelder Hollow, a place untouched by the world's progress, where the fog never lifted completely, and every house seemed to whisper secrets behind its shutters. I came seeking solitude, or perhaps hiding from something I dared not name. After losing my fiancée to illness that winter, I had abandoned the city. Its noise, its faces, its pitying eyes, all of it haunted me. So when I received a letter offering work as a caretaker for an old manor in the countryside, I accepted without question. The journey took 3 days on horseback. By the time I reached the valley, the air was thick with mist, and the road wound between black pines that seemed to bow toward me as I passed. The locals I met on the way spoke little. When I mentioned the manor, they grew pale. One innkeeper, an old woman with cloudy eyes, said quietly, "You'll be staying at the Hollow Vale Manor?" I nodded. She leaned closer. "Then you'd best keep the lanterns lit at night. The widow walks when the fog is thick." I smiled politely, thinking it village superstition, but her trembling hands told another story. The manor stood on a hill above the valley, overlooking a dark lake. Its windows were black as eyes, and ivy crawled up its sides like veins. I remember how the gate moaned when I pushed it open, the sound echoing through the fog. Inside, the air smelled of damp wood and something faintly sweet like decayed flowers. A caretaker had been expecting me, an old man named Marin. He was thin, gray, and moved as though each step pained him. "You'll find the rooms upstairs," he rasped. "Avoid the east wing. It's unstable." His eyes shifted when he said it, as if afraid to reveal more. That night, I unpacked in a candlelit room that overlooked the lake. The moonlight fell on the surface like liquid silver. For a moment, I thought I saw someone standing by the shore, a figure in white, holding a small lantern. But when I blinked, she was gone. The days passed quietly. I spent most mornings repairing the manor's shutters and tending the overgrown gardens. The air was always damp, the wind whispering through the trees in low voices that almost sounded like words. Then, one evening, I heard music, a faint melody carried by the wind, a woman's humming, soft and sorrowful. It came from the direction of the lake. Curiosity drew me out into the mist. I followed the sound until I saw her. She stood by the shore, her back turned, her hair loose and pale in the moonlight. She wore a flowing white dress that moved like smoke in the breeze. In her hand, a small lantern glowed, faintly blue. When she turned, my heart froze. Her face was beautiful, almost impossibly so, pale, delicate, and sorrowful. Her eyes glowed with something I couldn't name. "You shouldn't be here after dark," she said softly. Her voice was like a lullaby wrapped in sadness. "I heard music," I said. "I thought someone might be hurt." A faint smile crossed her lips. I was not hurt, merely remembering. She looked toward the water, and for a moment I thought I saw movement beneath the surface, as if something long and dark swam below. When I turned back, she was gone. The next morning, I asked Marin if anyone else lived nearby. He shook his head. "No one but ghosts, sir." I almost laughed until I saw how serious he was. He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "She comes when the lanterns burn low. A widow who lost her love in that lake 100 years ago. They say she lures men to the water, so she'll not be alone. I wanted to dismiss it, but the image of her face stayed with me. That evening, I found myself at the lake again, waiting, though I told myself I wasn't. And when the fog rolled in, I saw her again. This time she spoke to me longer. Her name, she said, was Ilara. She lived once in the manor, long ago, before it belonged to anyone else. Her husband had drowned in the lake during a storm, and she had searched for him by lantern light until the cold took her, too. I never found him, she whispered. The lake kept him. But sometimes it shows me his reflection, just for a moment. I didn't know whether to pity or fear her, but I was drawn to her, the way her words trembled between love and despair. When I reached out to touch her hand, she flinched, not from fear, but from sorrow. You'll fade, she said. Everything fades, except the light. The lantern in her hand flickered. For a moment, her face seemed to shift, hollow eyes, a mouth frozen mid-scream. And then she was gone, leaving only the faint glow on the water. That night, I dreamed of her. She stood at my bedside, the lantern glowing blue, beside her face. She whispered, "Do not leave me." And I woke to find the candle in my room had burned out. When I relit it, I saw wet footprints leading from the door to the bed, and stopping right beside where I had been sleeping. In the days that followed, I couldn't stay away. Each night, I went to the lake. And each night, she appeared, always sadder, always closer. Sometimes she'd smile and speak of the stars. Sometimes she'd ask if I believed in fate. And sometimes she'd look at me with such longing that I almost forgot she wasn't alive. The nights grew colder. Marin warned me to leave the valley, but I couldn't. Love, or something darker, had already taken root in me. One evening, as I stood by the lake waiting, the mist thickened until I could barely see the water. I called her name, Ilara. The lantern appeared first, floating above the fog, like a will-o'-the-wisp. Then her voice, soft, distant. "You came back." "I had to," I said. "I can't stop thinking about you." She stepped forward, and I saw tears shining on her cheeks. "You don't understand what that means." "What?" "That you're already mine." The fog swallowed her voice, and I felt something cold wrap around my wrist, soft, gentle, but pulling me toward the lake. I struggled, but the fog thickened, and I swear I heard her whisper, right beside my ear, "Stay with me forever." And then silence. When I awoke, I was lying by the water's edge, soaked to the bone. The lantern still burned faintly beside me. But this time, there was another reflection in the lake. It wasn't mine. It was hers, smiling, though she was nowhere to be seen. Story 2. Whispers in the Fog. It's strange how quickly fear can become familiar. In those days, I began to expect her. I'd wake at dusk, listening for the faint hum from a lake, that sorrowful melody that always carried on the wind when she was near. The villagers avoided me now. Word had spread that the new caretaker spoke to the dead. I could feel their eyes watching from behind their curtains whenever I passed through the village to fetch supplies. But I didn't care. I only thought of her, Ilara, the woman who haunted my nights and filled my waking thoughts. I told myself I was helping her, that my visits gave her comfort, that she was lonely, not dangerous. But somewhere deep down, I knew that wasn't true. The manor had grown colder since I arrived. Doors that once creaked now stayed shut, as if something unseen pressed against them from the other side. At night, the walls seemed to breathe. Sometimes I'd hear the faint sound of dripping water echoing through the halls, though the roof no longer leaked. Story 2. Whispers in the Fog. It's strange how quickly fear can become familiar. In those days, I began to expect her. I'd wake at dusk, listening for the faint hum from a lake, that sorrowful melody that always carried on the wind when she was near. The villagers avoided me now. Word had spread that the new caretaker spoke to the dead. I could feel their eyes watching from behind their curtains whenever I passed through the village to fetch supplies. But I didn't care. I only thought of her, Ilara, the woman who haunted my nights and filled my waking thoughts. I told myself I was helping her, that my visits gave her comfort, that she was lonely, not dangerous. But somewhere deep down, I knew that wasn't true. The manor had grown colder since I arrived. Doors that once creaked now stayed shut, as if something unseen pressed against them from the other side. At night, the walls seemed to breathe. Sometimes I'd hear the faint sound of dripping water echoing through the halls, though the roof no longer leaked. And Marin, he'd become quiet, almost afraid to speak. When I mentioned Alara, his hands would tremble. "Sir," he whispered once, "you mustn't answer when she calls your name. Promise me that much." But I didn't promise, because I knew I couldn't keep it. That evening, I found her again by the lake. The fog hung thick, and her lantern burned brighter than before, a strange, pale blue that seemed to pulse, almost like a heartbeat. "You came," she said. Her voice trembled between joy and fear. "I couldn't stay away," I told her. She smiled sadly. "I prayed you would return." "Why?" "Because every night you do, you draw closer to the water." Her hand brushed my arm, cold as ice, and yet I didn't pull away. When she looked at me, I could feel the weight of centuries in her eyes. "You think I'm some ghost, some tale to pity," she whispered. "But I remember love. I remember warmth. I remember what it was like to breathe." Her words trembled into silence. I wanted to hold her, but the fog between us thickened, and the sound of water lapping against the shore filled the air. Then I saw something move in the lake, a shape just below the surface, long, pale fingers rising through the water, curling upward, before vanishing again. "Ilara," I whispered, stepping back. "What was that?" She turned away. "My husband," she said softly. "He still waits." That night I dreamed again. In the dream, I stood at the water's edge. Ilara floated above the lake, her lantern glowing brighter than the moon. Beneath her, a dozen faces stared up through the surface, pale, bloated, and smiling. They were all men, their eyes open, mouths whispering the same word over and over. "Stay." When I woke, I could still hear it. It wasn't a dream. Marin disappeared the next morning. His bed was empty, his tools scattered, but his boots were still at the door. I found footprints leading from the manor to the lake and ending at the shore. The ground was wet, though it hadn't rained. By the water, I found something else, a lantern. Its glass cracked, its light long dead. The days grew longer, but the fog never lifted. I barely ate, barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face. I began to hear her voice even in daylight, whispering from the corners of the room, from the reflection in the mirror, from the rustle of the curtains. Once, I looked into the mirror and saw her standing behind me. When I turned, nothing, but the mirror still showed her hand resting on my shoulder. That night, I lit every candle in the manor. The halls glowed like a cathedral of flame. I swore I wouldn't go to her. But when the clock struck midnight, I heard the music again, faint, sorrowful. My resolve broke. I walked out into the fog. The moon hung low over the lake, and the air was so still it felt like the world had stopped breathing. "Ilara," I called softly. The lantern light flickered in the distance. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered as she appeared. Her eyes glistened with tears. "You're not meant for this world." "I don't care," I said. "If you're cursed to wander here, then I'll stay with you." "You don't understand what you're saying," she pleaded. "Every man who loved me stayed, but not as they were." The wind rose, and the lake began to stir. Shapes formed beneath the surface, faces, hands, whispering, reaching. "Ilara," I said, stepping closer. "I'm not afraid." She trembled. "You should be." The lantern in her hand flared, and for an instant I saw the truth. The woman before me was not whole. Her body shimmered like mist. Beneath the pale skin, water flowed, dark, cold, endless. Her eyes glowed faintly blue, and her tears fell to the ground as drops of lake water. I stepped back, but the fog wrapped around me like cloth. Behind her, I saw the faint silhouettes of others, men, their faces blank, drifting in the mist. "Ilara, what are they?" I whispered. "Those who stayed." Her voice cracked with pain. "Don't make me love you too." I ran, through the forest, through the fog, until the manor came into view again. When I burst inside, the candles had all gone out. Only one light burned, in the window of the east wing. The one Marin had told me never to enter. Something pulled me toward it, a sound, soft as a sigh, coming from behind the locked door. I broke it open. Inside was a room I had never seen, filled with old portraits, furniture covered in dust, and a mirror standing tall in the corner. In the reflection, I saw the lake, and her. She stood there, lantern in hand, staring through the glass. "Do you see now?" she whispered. "There is no escape." Then her hand reached out from the reflection through the glass and pressed against my chest. My breath froze. The room filled with the smell of damp earth and candle smoke. And then I was falling into darkness. When I woke, I was lying on the cold floor. Morning light streamed through the cracked window, but the mirror was gone. In its place, a small, glowing lantern rested on the ground, faintly blue, flickering as if alive. When I touched it, I heard her voice, soft and close. "Soon you'll understand. I haven't seen her since that night, but I still hear her humming. Sometimes, when the fog rolls in, I see the lantern's glow drifting by the trees. And sometimes, I think I see her watching from the window, her eyes shining with love and sorrow both." Story 3. The Lantern's Glow. I no longer knew how many days had passed since Marin vanished. Time had begun to dissolve in Eilder Hollow, hours folding into one another, like pages of a book soaked in rain. The fog was thicker now. Even in daylight, it clung to the manor's windows, dimming the light until every room looked like evening. The only thing that seemed alive was the lantern. That cursed, beautiful glow that I kept it near me at all times, on the desk where I wrote, by my bed when I slept. At night, its light pulsed faintly, as though it breathed. When I stared into it, I could see faint shapes moving inside. Shadows, faces maybe, too quick to catch. Sometimes, when I whispered Ilara's name, the light grew brighter. I should have been terrified. Instead, I found comfort in it. That frightened me most of all. One morning, I woke to find words scrawled on the inside of my window. They were written in a thin trail of condensation, as if traced by a finger. "Meet me where the water meets the mist." The words faded as I watched, but the chill that settled over me remained by the time night fell. I had already decided to go. The path to the lake was almost gone, overgrown, soft with mud. The air was thick enough to taste damp and cold, carrying that same distant hum I had come to know too well. She was waiting for me. Ilara stood by the shore, her hair a silver tangle, her lantern glowing brighter than ever before. But this time, something was different. The ground around her was covered in frost. And when she smiled, I saw tears frozen to her cheeks. "You shouldn't have come," she said softly. "You asked me to." "I didn't," she whispered. "He did." Her eyes flicked toward the lake, toward the black surface that reflected no stars. "Who?" I asked. "The one who drowned." A ripple passed across the water, though the air was still. And from beneath the surface, I heard a sound like breathing, slow, deep. "Wrong, Ilara, you told me he was gone." "I thought he was." Her voice trembled. "But the lake keeps what it loves, even me." The fog began to move. It coiled around us, rising like smoke from unseen fires. "Ilara," I said, stepping forward, "you don't belong here. You can be freed from this." She looked at me with such sorrow that I almost fell to my knees. "There is no freedom from love," she whispered. "Only memory." The lantern in her hand flared, and the fog came alive. Faces appeared in it. Men, their features blurred and weeping. They reached out toward me, mouthing silent words. "Ilara," I whispered. "What are they?" "The ones who promised," she said. "The ones who swore they'd never leave me." The air grew heavy. My breath turned white. Something moved in the water, a shape vast and human, dragging itself toward the shore. It rose slowly, the lake pouring off it like it had Marin's face. But his eyes were gone, replaced by hollow sockets that burned faint blue. "Ilara," I gasped, stumbling back. "He wanted to leave," she said softly. "But love does not let go." The thing, whatever wore Marin's face, stepped closer, water running from its open mouth as it whispered my name. "Ilara," I cried. "Stop this." She looked at me with agony. "I can't." The lantern's glow pulsed and the creature froze, its head tilting toward the light. Then slowly, it sank back into the lake, vanishing beneath the surface. When I looked back, Ilara was weeping. "I can't hold them forever," she said. They want you now. Then let me take your place, I said without thinking. If you're cursed because of love, then curse me too. Her expression broke. You don't know what that means. I don't care. The fog swirled, wrapping around her like a shroud. When she stepped closer, her hand brushed my face, cold enough to burn. Then take it, she whispered. Take my light. She placed the lantern in my hands that I burned through my skin, cold and searing at once. 1,000 whispers filled my head, crying, pleading, laughing. I saw flashes, her wedding night, her husband's fall into the lake, her endless search through the storm, and then blackness. When I opened my eyes, I was back in the manor. The lantern sat on the table beside me, glowing brighter than ever. But I wasn't alone. Reflections moved in the mirrors, not mine, but hers. Every surface now held her face, watching me from different angles, whispering my name. Sometimes she looked sad. Sometimes she looked angry. Sometimes she looked hungry. That night, I dreamt of the lake again. Only this time, I wasn't standing on the shore, but I was beneath it. The water pressed against my lungs, cold and endless. Shapes floated around me, men hundreds of them, their eyes open, their mouths whispering, and through them, drifting closer, was Alara. She reached for me, her fingers brushing my cheek. The lantern burned between us, brighter than the sun. Now you see, she said. Love never dies. Then she kissed me, and I felt the world unravel. When I woke, my body ached as though I had been underwater for hours. My clothes were damp. The floorboards beneath my bed were wet. And beside me, the lantern burned with a steady blue light. Since then, the manor has changed. The walls glisten with moisture. The windows never clear. And sometimes at night, I hear footsteps in the hall, slow dragging, stopping outside my door. When I open it, there's nothing there. But I can smell the lake. Alara no longer appears to me by the shore. Now she comes in the mirror, her eyes hollow, her voice low. You're becoming like them, she whispers. You carry my light now. And when I look down at my hands, I see faint blue veins glowing beneath my skin. Sometimes I wonder if Marin saw this coming. If that's why he begged me not to answer when she called. But it's too late that I see her in every reflection now, not as she was, but as she truly is. A woman bound to her grief, and to me I can't tell if I love her, or if I've already drowned. Story 4, The Hollow Night. I no longer slept. The nights had grown too loud for dreams. Every hour, the manor spoke. Boards creaked, doors whispered, walls sighed, as if the house itself was remembering. Sometimes I thought I could hear breathing inside the walls. Sometimes I thought the breathing was mine. The lantern had become the heart of it all. It no longer stayed where I left it. Some mornings, I'd find it sitting at the foot of my bed, its flame steady, its glow colder than ice. And sometimes, in that ghostly light, I saw her, Alara. Not the way I first saw her, graceful, sorrowful, beautiful. No, now she was pale and fading, her skin cracked like porcelain, her eyes hollow as river stones. But even like that, I loved her. I hate myself for it. The manor had changed too. What once looked abandoned now seemed alive, breathing, swelling, shifting. Doors led to rooms that hadn't existed before. Stairs curved into corridors lined with mirrors that reflected not me, but the lake. And always, somewhere in the distance, I heard the faint sound of water dripping. Marin's voice haunted my thoughts. You mustn't answer when she calls your name. But when she did, I always answered. It began with the whisper. At first, I thought it came from outside, the wind, maybe. But it wasn't. It came from a lantern. My name, spoken softly. When I looked into the light, I saw her face. She was crying. Why did you take my curse? She whispered. I wanted to free you. You've only freed the darkness, she said. He knows your name now. Who? She looked past me, toward the black window. The one who drowned. The one who won't rest. That night I saw him. I woke to the sound of dripping again, louder this time, echoing through the hall. When I rose, the floorboards beneath my feet were slick and cold. The walls glistened with moisture, and the air smelled of the lake. As I stepped into the corridor, I saw water seeping from under the doors, dark, rippling, spreading. At the far end of the hall, something moved. A man, tall, thin, his clothes heavy and dripping, his head tilted unnaturally to one side. "Who are you?" I called. He didn't answer. He simply raised a trembling hand and pointed toward the lantern in my grip. Then he smiled, and the sound that came from his mouth wasn't human. A wet gasp, a groan, like lungs filled with water. He took a step closer, and the candles lining the corridor went out, one by one. I ran. The manor twisted around me, halls stretching, stairs splitting, mirrors multiplying. I could hear him following, slow, steady steps, dragging like chains through shallow water. When I reached the study, I slammed the door and bolted it. The room was dark, except for the lantern. Its light flickered wildly, casting shapes on the walls, shadows that looked like bodies floating. "Ilara," I shouted. "Help me." Her voice answered, but not from a room. It came from inside the lantern. "You can't hide from him. He wants what you took." What did I take? My light. Her tone broke. He was meant to keep it, but I couldn't bear it. I loved him once until he drowned me. My heart froze. "He killed you." "Yes," she whispered. "And now he kills for me." The door shuddered, which splintered as something heavy struck it from the other side. "Ilara," I cried. "What do I do?" She hesitated, and when she spoke, her voice was almost human again. "You must return it." "How?" "Take it back to the lake. Burn it where we first met." The door cracked. Water poured through, flooding across the floor. And behind it, a face pressed against the opening. Blue eyes burning. A mouth full of lake water, whispering my name. "Stay." I grabbed the lantern and ran. The manor screamed as I fled, with groaning, mirrors shattering, windows exploding outward. Every hallway was filled with water now, rising fast. By the time I burst through the front doors, the fog outside glowed with that same blue hue. The forest bent in the wind, and the path to the lake pulsed faintly beneath the mist, as though guiding me forward. I didn't look back. When I reached the water's edge, the air was completely still. The lake's surface reflected the moon like glass. "Ilara," I shouted. She appeared, not from the shore, but from the water, rising slowly, her white dress trailing behind her like smoke. The lantern in my hand pulsed violently, almost alive. "It's time," she said softly. Her face was pale and trembling. "He's coming." From behind her, the lake began to boil. A massive shape broke the surface, a man's body swollen, bloated, skin torn and gray. His mouth hung open, releasing a hiss that froze my blood. "Ilara," I whispered, "tell me what to do." "Burn it," she cried. "End it now." I lifted the lantern and threw it into the water. The light exploded, a blinding flash of blue that split the fog like lightning. The creature screamed, the lake roared, and for a moment, everything went silent. When I opened my eyes, I was standing in the ashes of what had been the lantern. The fog was gone. Ilara knelt before me, her eyes soft again, her form fading with the wind. "You freed me," she whispered. I reached out, but my hand passed through her. "I'm sorry," I said. "Don't be," she smiled faintly. "You gave me peace." Her voice grew faint. "But you still carry the light." "What?" She touched my chest, and the world went dark. When I woke, it was morning. The manor stood silent again, the fog lifted, the air clear. But when I looked down at my hands, faint blue light glowed beneath my skin. In the reflection of the lake, I saw her, not gone, not at rest. Standing behind me, smiling. Story 5. The Endless Light. They say the valley of Eelder Hollow no longer exists. That it was swallowed by mist years ago, erased from every map. But I know that's not true. It's still there, waiting. And sometimes when the fog rolls in over the northern woods, I can still see the glow of the lake, faint and blue, flickering between the trees. Weeks passed after the night I threw the lantern into the water. Or maybe days. Time has lost its edges. The manor still stands, though it's quieter now, a hollow shell of what it once was. The walls no longer breathe. The floors no longer drip. Only the faint echo of my own footsteps remains. But when night falls, the light returns. It starts small, a glow beneath my skin, pulsing like a heartbeat. Then it spreads. Through my chest, up my throat, into my eyes. By midnight, the entire room shimmers, faintly blue. And I hear her voice again. Ilara. I whisper, though I already know she's listening. She always is. At first, I tried to leave. I packed my things, saddled my horse, and rode down the narrow road that wound through the valley. But the further I went, the thicker the fog became. After hours of riding, I realized I was back at the manor gates. The same crows circled above. The same rusted hinges groaned as I entered. I wasn't being stopped by distance. I was being pulled back. Every mirror in the house now shows her. Sometimes she stands behind me. Sometimes beside me. Sometimes inside the reflection itself, pressing her hand against the glass, whispering things I can't understand. The strange thing is, I don't fear her anymore. I think, I love her again. Not the way I loved her before, with pity, with fascination, but with surrender. I belong to her now. And maybe that's what she wanted all along. One night, I went to the lake again. The fog greeted me like an old friend. The water was still, dark as ink. I could see my reflection, pale, hollow, eyes glowing faint blue. Ilara, I said softly, I know you're here. The water rippled, and she rose from it, slow and graceful, as though the lake itself breathed her out. Her form was faint, almost transparent now. The lantern light burned within her chest. It's over, she said. I don't believe that. You freed me, she whispered, but you kept my curse. I don't feel cursed. Her eyes glowed. Not yet. She moved closer, until her face was inches from mine. I could feel the cold radiating from her. Do you remember what you said the first night? She asked. I nodded. That I couldn't stop thinking about you. And I told you that meant you were already mine. She smiled sadly. You are now. Her hand touched my chest, and the blue light inside me flared. I gasped. The air turned to frost. I'm sorry, I said, though I didn't know what for. For what? She asked softly. For loving you. She smiled, a sorrowful, beautiful smile. That's all I ever wanted. The world began to fade. The forest, the fog, the manor behind me, all dissolving into light. Only the lake remained, glowing brighter and brighter until it was no longer water, but flame. Ilara, I whispered as she drifted closer. Her eyes were endless, and in them I saw everything. Her life, her death, her pain, and mine. Then she kissed me. It wasn't warmth or cold. It was nothing, and in that nothingness I felt peace. When I awoke, I was standing in the water. The lake was calm again. The fog had lifted, but the reflection staring back at me wasn't mine anymore. It was hers. I returned to the manor that night, though I no longer needed to walk. I moved like smoke, silent, unseen. Inside, the candles lit themselves as I passed. The walls gleamed with faint light, and from somewhere deep within me, the lantern glowed, bright and endless. Now I understand. The light isn't cursed. It's a memory, a hunger. Every man who carried it before me still lingers in the mist, bound to her, bound to the lake. Now I'm one of them. Sometimes, on cold nights, travelers lose their way through the forest and end up here. They see a light on the hill, a faint blue glow that calls to them through the fog. They say a man stands there, pale, quiet, holding a lantern that never burns out. If they follow it, they reach the lake. If they stare too long, they see her reflection in the water, smiling back. And if they whisper her name, they never leave. The villagers call it the widow's lantern. They say it's a curse, a warning. But they don't understand. It's love, endless, unforgiving, eternal. The widow's lantern, end.